I work really intensely with about 7 people a year. I spend a lot of my time sitting here on this couch, wearing this headset, talking to people in Zoom. You know, the most important, but also the most difficult role that I find I have as a coach is to help people to recognize the extraordinary power of nothing, of emptiness, of doing nothing. Mostly I work with people running big companies or managing big projects. It's just the kind of coach that I am. I help people to bring to fruition projects that have a big impact on the world. The human mind runs on an obsession with doing. And very often an obsession with solving a problem. And so my clients, they frequently have this idea that here's this unsolved problem. Sometimes it's defined, sometimes it's just a general sense of something that needs to be fixed, which keeps a nervous activity running. And this leads to a lot of effort, but also frustration and not so much result. My job is to help people to see that the most powerful impulses that hit the target very precisely, that create maximum result with minimum effort, arise out of stillness and come not from the mind, but through the mind, or from beyond the mind. The other day I was talking to one of my clients in an endless dance of helping him see the immense power of stillness and waiting, and riding the wave that arises naturally out of that stillness. So I was talking to him about washing clothes in a washing machine. We used to have one of those top-loaded washing machines where you would lift the lid on the top and put the clothes in, and then you could actually switch the machine on and see the clothes moving. Well, imagine that you put your clothes in the machine, you put your washing powder in, maybe then you add some water just from a hose, and you put your hand in and turn the spindle by hand. You could do that. If you were to manually try and turn that spindle, maybe after 8, 10, 12 hours, you would get sort of halfway washed clothes. They wouldn't be as clean as they could be, but you'd get some result if you turned the spindle by for hours yourself. But imagine the amount of effort and time that would be required to get clean clothes. Alternatively, you could notice that there's a plug on the machine, and you could plug that into the power outlet on your wall. As soon as you plug it in, all you have to do is press a little button, which is like setting an intention. You can walk away, have a cup of tea. A couple of hours later, you've got completely clean clothes. Much more clean than you would have got through your effort. It's actually a beautiful analogy. But somebody who's really putting a lot of energy into turning the spindle and really obsessed, if you were to come along and say, why don't you plug it in? They might say, I'm much too busy, I can't stop, I've got to keep turning this spindle, it's an emergency, I've got to really get the clothes clean. And it might be difficult to explain to somebody, if you stop turning the spindle and plug in the machine, you won't need to turn the spindle so much. In just the same way, if you stop your activity and wait for the nervousness to settle down, which might take a little while, if you let it settle down and wait for impulses to arise out of an infinite source of energy, which is both within yourself and everywhere, you can actually just set an intention and relax, and things will happen effortlessly and easily. And your clothes will get completely clean. The job will get thoroughly done instead of half done through striving and worry and effort. This is the most difficult job of a coach, in my line of coaching, to persuade people, seduce people, encourage people to stop, to slow down, to connect with an infinite source of energy, and to wait.